Welcome. Today, we're diving into the essentials of liability car insurance. Whether you're a new driver or just want to refresh your knowledge, understanding liability coverage is crucial. This type of insurance is not just a legal requirement in most places, but also a financial safety net if you're ever involved in an accident. We'll break down what liability car insurance is, what it pays for, and why it's so important for every driver on the road. Let's start by defining exactly what liability car insurance means and how it fits into your overall auto insurance policy. Liability car insurance is a type of coverage that helps pay for injuries and property damage you cause to others in an accident. It doesn't cover your own injuries or vehicle repairs, but it protects you financially if you're found responsible for an accident. Think of it as a shield that helps you handle the costs of harming someone else or damaging their property while driving. This coverage is often required by law, and having it means you can drive with peace of mind, knowing you're prepared for the unexpected. In most states and countries, liability car insurance is a legal requirement. This means you must have at least a minimum amount of coverage to drive legally. The law is designed to ensure that if you cause an accident, you can pay for the damages or injuries you inflict on others. Driving without liability insurance can lead to fines, license, suspension, or even legal action. So, not only does it protect you financially, but it also keeps you on the right side of the law. One part of liability car insurance is bodily injury liability. This coverage pays for medical expenses, lost wages, and even legal fees if you injure someone in an accident. For example, if you accidentally hit another car and the driver or passengers are hurt, your bodily injury liability coverage helps cover their costs. It can also help if you're sued for damages related to the accident. This coverage is essential for protecting your finances from potentially huge medical bills or lawsuits. The second main part of liability car insurance is property damage liability. This coverage pays for repairs or replacement if you damage someone else's property with your car. Most commonly, this means paying for another person's car repairs after an accident you caused, but it can also cover things like fences, mailboxes, or buildings that you might accidentally hit. Without this coverage, you could be responsible for paying these costs out of your own pocket. It's important to know what liability car insurance does not cover. This insurance won't pay for your own injuries or damage to your own car after an accident. If you want coverage for your own vehicle or medical bills, you'll need additional types of insurance, like collision or personal injury protection. Liability insurance is strictly for the costs you cause to others, not yourself. Understanding this difference can help you choose the right coverage for your needs. Liability car insurance comes with limits, which are the maximum amounts your insurer will pay for a covered claim. These limits are usually split into three numbers, such as 255, 025. The first number is the maximum paid per person for bodily injury, the second is the total per accident for bodily injury, and the third is for property damage. Choosing higher limits means more protection, but it may also increase your premium. When selecting liability car insurance, you can often choose your coverage limits. While your state may require a minimum, it's wise to consider higher limits for better protection. Accidents can be expensive, and if damages exceed your policy limits, you could be responsible for the rest. Think about your assets and how much risk you can afford. Higher limits offer more peace of mind, especially if you have significant savings or property to protect. Every state sets its own minimum requirements for liability car insurance. These minimums vary widely, so it's important to check your local laws. Some states require only a small amount of coverage, while others set higher standards. Meeting the minimum keeps you legal, but it may not be enough to fully protect you in a serious accident. Always review your state's requirements and consider your personal needs when choosing coverage. If you're at fault in an accident, your liability insurance pays the other party's costs up to your policy limits. The process usually starts with the other driver filing a claim with your insurer. Your insurance company then investigates the accident, determines fault, and pays for covered damages. If costs exceed your limits, you may have to pay the difference out of pocket. This is why choosing the right coverage amount is so important. Imagine you accidentally rear-end another car at a stoplight. The other driver is injured and their car is damaged. Your liability insurance would pay for their medical bills and car repairs up to your policy limits. If the costs are higher than your coverage, you could be sued for the difference. This example shows why having enough liability insurance is so important for your financial security. Liability car insurance typically covers you, the policyholder, as well as any family members or other drivers listed on your policy. It may also cover someone who has permission to drive your car. However, it doesn't cover drivers who use your car without permission or for illegal activities. Always check your policy details to know exactly who is protected under your liability coverage. Like all insurance, liability car insurance has exclusions and limitations. For example, it won't cover intentional damage, accidents during illegal activities, or business use unless specified. Some policies exclude certain drivers or situations, so it's important to read the fine print. Knowing these details helps you avoid surprises if you ever need to file a claim. Liability insurance is just one part of a full auto insurance policy. Full coverage usually includes liability, collision, and comprehensive insurance. While liability covers others' costs, collision and comprehensive cover your own car for things like accidents, theft, or weather damage. Understanding the difference helps you decide what level of protection you need. The cost of liability car insurance depends on several factors, including your driving record, location, age, and the amount of coverage you choose. Generally, liability-only policies are more affordable than full coverage. However, choosing higher limits or having a history of accidents can increase your premium. Shopping around and comparing quotes can help you find the best rate for your needs. Purchasing liability car insurance is straightforward. You can buy it directly from insurance companies, through agents, or online. Start by gathering quotes from several providers to compare prices and coverage options. Make sure you meet your state's minimum requirements and consider higher limits for better protection. Once you choose a policy, you'll need to provide information about your car, driving history, and any other drivers you want to include. After purchasing liability car insurance, you'll receive proof of insurance. This is usually a card or digital document showing your coverage details. You must carry this proof whenever you drive, as you may need to show it during traffic stops or after an accident. Failing to provide proof can result in fines or penalties, so always keep it handy. Liability car insurance policies typically last 6 months to a year. Before your policy expires, your insurer will send a renewal notice. It's important to review your coverage and make any necessary changes before renewing. If you let your policy lapse, you could face fines or lose your legal ability to drive. Always renew on time to maintain continuous protection. You can adjust your liability coverage limits at any time, not just during renewal. If your financial situation changes or you acquire more assets, you might want to increase your limits for better protection. Conversely, if you need to lower costs, you can reduce your limits, but make sure you still meet legal requirements. Always talk to your insurer before making changes. Changing your liability coverage limits will affect your insurance premiums. Higher limits mean more protection, but also higher costs. Lowering your limits can save money, but it may leave you exposed to greater financial risk. Consider your budget and risk tolerance when deciding on your coverage levels. Several factors influence the cost of liability car insurance. These include your age, driving history, location, type of car, and even your credit score in some states. Safe drivers with clean records usually pay less, while those with accidents or tickets may pay more. Where you live also matters, as urban areas tend to have higher rates due to more accidents and claims. Many insurers offer discounts that can lower your liability insurance costs. Common discounts include safe driver, multi-policy, good student, and anti-theft device discounts. Ask your insurer about available discounts and see if you qualify. Taking advantage of these savings can make your coverage more affordable without sacrificing protection. If you're involved in an accident, filing a liability insurance claim is straightforward. Contact your insurer as soon as possible, provide details about the accident, and submit any required documents. Your insurer will investigate, determine fault, and pay for covered damages up to your policy limits. Keeping good records and cooperating with your insurer can help the process go smoothly. After an accident, make sure everyone is safe and call emergency services if needed. Exchange information with the other driver, including insurance details. Take photos of the scene and gather witness statements if possible. Notify your insurer as soon as you can. These steps help ensure your liability claim is processed quickly and accurately. If you're sued after an accident, your liability insurance can help cover legal fees and settlements up to your policy limits. Your insurer will usually provide a lawyer to defend you in court. However, if damages exceed your coverage, you may be responsible for the rest. This is another reason to consider higher liability limits for better protection. For extra protection, some people purchase umbrella insurance policies. These policies provide additional liability coverage above your auto policy limits. If you're involved in a major accident with high costs, an umbrella policy can help cover the difference. This is especially useful for those with significant assets to protect. Standard liability car insurance usually doesn't cover accidents that happen while using your car for business purposes, like ride-sharing or deliveries. If you use your car for work, you may need a commercial auto policy or special endorsements. Always inform your insurer about how you use your vehicle to ensure you have the right coverage. When you rent a car, your personal liability insurance may extend to the rental vehicle. However, coverage varies by insurer and policy. Rental companies also offer their own liability coverage, which you can purchase for extra peace of mind. Always check with your insurer before renting to understand what is and isn't covered. Most liability car insurance policies only cover you within your home country. If you plan to drive abroad, you may need to purchase additional coverage or a special international policy. Some countries require you to buy local insurance at the border. Always research requirements before traveling to avoid gaps in coverage. Adding a teen driver to your policy can increase your liability insurance costs, as young drivers are considered higher risk. However, it's essential to ensure they're properly covered. Encourage safe driving habits and ask your insurer about discounts for good students or driver education courses to help manage costs. Drivers with a history of accidents, tickets, or DUIs are considered high risk and may pay more for liability insurance. Some insurers may refuse coverage, but there are specialized companies and state programs that offer policies for high-risk drivers. Improving your driving record over time can help lower your rates. Some drivers are required to file an SR-22 form, which proves they have the minimum required liability insurance. This is often needed after serious violations like DUIs or driving without insurance. Your insurer files the SR-22 with the state, and you must maintain coverage for a set period. Failing to do so can result in license suspension. Uninsured motorist coverage is a separate type of insurance that protects you if you're hit by a driver without insurance. While liability covers others, uninsured motorist coverage helps pay for your injuries or damages when the other driver can't. It's often recommended as an add-on for extra protection. Underinsured motorist coverage helps when the at-fault driver doesn't have enough insurance to pay for your damages. This coverage kicks in to cover the gap between their limits and your actual costs. Like uninsured motorist coverage, it's a valuable add-on for complete protection. Personal injury protection, or PIP, is another optional coverage that pays for your own medical expenses after an accident, regardless of who is at fault. Liability insurance won't cover your injuries, so PIP can be a smart addition, especially in states with no-fault insurance laws. Medical payments coverage, or MedPay, is similar to PIP, but usually offers more limited benefits. It helps pay for medical expenses for you and your passengers after an accident, regardless of fault. MedPay is optional in most states, but can provide extra peace of mind. Collision coverage is another optional insurance that pays for damage to your own car after an accident, regardless of who is at fault. Liability insurance won't cover your car's repairs, so collision coverage is important if you want to protect your vehicle investment. Comprehensive coverage pays for damage to your car from non-collision events, like theft, vandalism, or natural disasters. Like collision, it's optional and not included in liability insurance. If you want full protection for your vehicle, consider adding comprehensive coverage to your policy. Liability car insurance is essential because it protects you from the financial consequences of causing harm to others. Without it, you could be personally responsible for huge bills after an accident. It's not just about following the law, it's about safeguarding your future and peace of mind every time you drive. There are several myths about liability car insurance. Some people think it covers their own car or medical bills, but that's not true. Others believe minimum coverage is enough, but serious accidents can easily exceed those limits. Understanding the facts helps you make better insurance decisions. It's a good idea to review your liability insurance policy regularly. Life changes, like buying a new car or moving, can affect your coverage needs. Make sure your policy still fits your situation and adjust your limits if necessary. Staying proactive ensures you're always protected. To save on liability car insurance, maintain a clean driving record, bundle policies, and ask about discounts. Compare quotes from different insurers and choose the coverage that fits your needs and budget. Being a responsible driver not only keeps you safe, but can also lower your insurance costs. Consider increasing your liability coverage if you buy a home, get a higher paying job, or accumulate more assets. Higher coverage protects your finances if you're ever sued after a serious accident. It's a smart move as your financial situation improves. To sum up, liability car insurance is a must-have for every driver. It pays for injuries and property damage you cause to others, keeps you legal, and protects your finances. Remember, it doesn't cover your own car or medical bills, so consider additional coverage for full protection. Review your policy regularly and choose limits that fit your needs. Thanks for joining us to learn about liability car insurance. Understanding what it covers and why it's important helps you make informed decisions and drive with confidence. Remember, the right coverage is about more than just meeting legal requirements. It's about protecting yourself and others on the road. Drive safely and stay insured.